Hey everybody, it's Lori with a voice in the dark. Um, I I just wanted to get on here and say, you know, everybody wants a hero. Whether it's in our own personal life or our community's life or even our country. And I think that's something we were missing here all along. Um, so many people go unheard. They're repressed and suppressed for a multitude of reasons, whether it's their religion, whether it's their male counterpart, in their lives that holds them down because women are supposed to be unheard but seen, and you gotta look pretty and play the rest of your role, which I find to be utterly bullshit. But anyway, that's me. The thing is that people were needing a hero, someone to tell them it was okay to yell and scream and to get it out and to feel mean and yay, I'm getting somewhere, I'm getting even. With what? Except your own self. That's it. This will hurt more people than you would ever want to hurt on your own. And I want to encourage you to be your own hero. Look at your life and see what it is that's missing. That you feel unheard or unnoticed or and whatever it is, heal that. If you feel like you're being unheard, well then start a YouTube. And just be frank, but this isn't about blaming the world. This is about what you've come to understand for yourself. That you didn't feel like you were heard. You didn't feel like you had a right to be boisterous or against something, or if something in your life wasn't working and you don't understand why, or that you're a bitter bitch, something like that, or a bitter dick. I don't mean to be so mean, but if the shoe fits. What I'm saying is that we've destroyed the United States of America in less than 120 days. And so many of us are fighting it, and it will get changed. It's just that I don't want us to change something and everybody be pissed off about it. I don't want to be angry at the people that feel unseen and unheard and feel like they have been made fun of and that they have had no say in anything. I want you to look at your life and find out where that fits. I want you to be your own hero. Life isn't easy, whether you're on your own or with somebody. And quite frankly, feeling like you're alone in a relationship is probably one of the worst experiences I've ever had. I'd rather be alone and happy, or even unhappy and alone, than with somebody and being unhappy. We have been scared and we have been taught to be afraid to be on our own. And we have been taught to put up with shit from a spouse and friends and society. And who in the hell cares? Be you, whatever that is. Be your own hero. Some people cling to really stringent philosophies, beliefs, or religions when They have not been allowed to be who they want to be, and they cling to this because it gives them a straight and narrow path to walk on, and it's really rigid. Therefore, I can't slip. You will someday. And right now what I'm seeing is a bunch of people slipping because they held all this shit in all their lives. And they're not happy. I don't blame you. But one thing I've learned, and I've learned it the hard way, through a lot of knocks and, what do you call it, hard knocks. But I still lived my life for me, even though I was put down for it by my mother, and part of society. I still did it my way, because I knew that would be the only thing that would make me happy. I did not want to be under someone's thumb. I didn't want anyone telling me if I looked good enough for the day. Who gives a shit? It's me. I dress for the occasion, you know. So why worry, right? And except for the time I got caught with my pig slippers on, getting gas one day. A buddy of mine, a good friend of mine, I hurried up and came home. And I wasn't thinking, you know, because it was winter and I needed to get gas before, you know, because I was going to a late shift. And here comes a buddy of mine. He goes, I knew that was you with the pink pig slippers on. What were you thinking? And I go, I don't know. I was in a hurry. I wasn't thinking. My feet were warm. Who wants to interfere with that, you know? So anyway, it was the last time I wore slippers out of the house. But what I'm saying is you have to be willing to look foolish. You also have to have a little bit of a backbone to say, well, this is the way I did it, and right or wrong. And if you need help, you got to ask for help. And most people are willing to help. At some point, you have to realize your voice is your power. So stand up for the things that you do believe in. But don't believe in something foolish that restricts and divides you from everyone else, because it's not right. We are all in this together. We are all human. We come in every shape, size, color, culture you can think of. Does that make us wrong? No. Maybe what made us wrong was not identifying ourselves with everyone, but by dividing ourselves with everyone. I grew up in a household where there was a lot of yelling and screaming all the time. My father drank a lot, and he was what they call a functioning drunk, real functioning drunk, but he'd get happy and goofy and mean. And I still found a voice. I knew what the discipline would be. Sometimes it was worse than what I thought, but you know. And then most of the time I got beat up because because it was something my dad did, not me. Or he was assuming. I wasn't doing anything. But anyway. And my mother, she would never allow anyone to see inside our home what really went on. To the point of when I left home after my dad had hurt me real bad, and I was bleeding and I was mad, and I was old enough to get emancipated. So I ran away, and I was at a friend's house waiting for Monday, because it was a Friday, waiting for Monday so I could see a judge and get myself emancipated from my family. And my mother begged me every day not to go, please don't go. I don't want anyone to know. It'll be okay. I said, you never protect me from him. Ever. Ever. Why would I do that? I'm tired of this. I didn't do anything wrong. He did. But I got beat for it. And so what I'm saying is, your voice has power. And you have a right to live your way and be who you are. Did I make my mom and dad very happy sometimes? No. Would I have made the church curl their ears? Yeah, probably. But I was also a really good person. And I was also a very honorable person. I stuck up for the little guy. Nobody else would, not even adults. And you have a voice. Speak. If you're being abused at home, get the hell out. There are too many places right now that'll help you, and if they won't help you, there are national places that'll help. You got to have a friend somewhere that would help. The thing is that abuse is wrong, no matter what it is. And most of the time it's from a drunk who thinks they're funny, and they're mean. And it didn't mean anything. Bullshit. One thing I know about drunks, and I know it well, is that they absolutely say what they feel. You know how most people as adults, or even young people, when we learn, manners and stuff, we tend to not say what we think, the mean things and stuff, because it's not polite, it's not right. But drunks take it to the whole next level of mean. And it makes it hard. You grow up with trauma and you don't even know it. They tell you got ADHD and can't get any help for that because heaven knows you can't see a psychiatrist because then they'll find out what goes on at home. And oh my gosh, that can't be allowed. So I know what a lot of you are going through right now. And you're scared. And you're unsure of yourselves. And you're unsure where anything's going. We're all feeling that right now. But I want to assure you that this is all a mess, and this too shall pass. And that your best focus is on yourself, healing, forgiving, just in your mind. Because you got to let people go in your mind. You got to let them go. And understand this. Your parents, no matter what they did, they also came from parents who were doing the best they could, and alcohol was involved. Because anytime there's alcohol involved, there seems to be other alcohol involved. And it goes on back through the lines. And it's not just alcohol. Sometimes there's just they're narcissists. They're mean because they didn't get their way, or they don't have enough common sense to feel smart like the others, and or whatever it is. But it's always something wrong with them. It's not you. So see it for what it is, for once. It takes time. If I hadn't married my second husband, who was hell on wheels, like having 7 6-year-olds under my feet every night because he was drunk, Hyper City, and you name it. I never knew what he was going to get into. It was like babysitting, though. I hated it. And the thing is I didn't realize till one day my dad drove up with my husband in the car. And when they both got out and I threw a hot cup of coffee at my husband and the baby ran under the cup, she didn't get hurt, don't worry. I threw it just perfect. And then my husband ducked. He didn't even get hit with it. But when I saw the two of them laughing, my entire childhood ran in front of my head, in my mind. And I went, oh my God, I was becoming just like my mom. And it made me realize my dad was a drunk. And I never knew. Because back then, drinking was normal. They drank in the car when we drove anywhere, on vacation, anywhere. Booze was always there. Hell, we'd own a nightclub. And so, anyway, Your childhood wasn't your fault. And it's not about blaming our parents. It's about seeing them for what they are and where they came from and forgiving them in our mind and letting them go. You don't have to get rid of them. You can forgive them, but you got to understand that your healing is important and you need to have boundaries. My mom would get upset about something, because she, sophisticated lady, and she wanted all these rudimentary protocols and behaviors and the way to dress and blah, blah, blah. I said, Mom, I look at who you married. Why would I care? I don't want to marry that. I eventually did, but I still divorced him. Our mothers were scared to death to be on their own. And they had always been told that they had to have a husband who made the money. My dad made good money. So she put up with a lot of shit, except I was the doormat. And it takes a long time to get over trauma, especially when you wait almost 60 some odd years to look at it. And, well, for one thing, I didn't realize it was trauma. We always thought it was ADHD, but then I finally got a psychologist. And he was like, wait a minute, did you just do this? And I go, yeah, I do it all the time. Why? He goes, I said, well, I know it's not my fault, but, I'm sorry it happened to you and everything. And he said, oh, no. He goes, you got childhood trauma, PTSD. I said, oh, okay. Well, with my ADHD, I'm doing real good now. So anyway, I have gotten through it. There's still some triggers that I'm learning to process through as they come up. But what I'm saying is that the country's going to straighten out again. But we all need to look at ourselves and ask, how did something like this happen? How are we not seeing each other correctly? And what is it we're not allowing people to see about us that we feel unheard or unseen? Because that's where the key is for each of us. And see if we're not making proper space for people to be seen just as they are, and get to know them, or let them be, Maybe we're not making proper space for people. And people who don't seem to be heard or seen, you need to understand that sometimes you have to speak up so that we know. And we can be there and make space for you, what you need. So anyway, this all boils down to, you don't need another hero. You don't need a hero out here. You need it here. And everybody talks a lot about Christ coming back and everything. And yeah, Christ is coming back. Christos, the Christ anointed oil in our body. Jesus taught us that the kingdom of heaven's in here. That oil comes up and it hits our pineal gland, and we get to open our third eye and be right with God. There is no separation. There never has been. Only we separate ourselves from God. So find a way to have a personal relationship with God, because it's bringing God where God really is, right here, inside. And heaven is in here. It's in our heart. It's in our soul, our spirit. Everybody's trying to get out there and make all these strange new words and terms and, really trying to screw it up. Keep it simple. Yes, we pray to a higher power. Much higher power. Not the Anunnaki, not the powerful ones, and not the lower gods. The one that Jesus prayed to is the one we pray to. That's who we're supposed to be praying to. Just say source. It makes it simple. But get to know by meditating, to listen to the inner voice, that intuition, that gut feeling. That is the universe talking to us. That's our soul, our spirit, our God self. Our spirits are God's. We are the children of God. We are linked to God. God is all it is. We are an integral part of the great consciousness. So get in touch with it and be your own hero. That's what we need right now, is to be our own heroes. And if you ever need help, my email is always down in the description. Godspeed, love ya, and have a good day. And I want to see a bunch of heroes rise up. Not out of hate, disregard for other life. No. We don't need those kind of heroes. What we need are the heroes that are loving themselves, maybe perhaps for the first time, fully loving themselves as they are. God knew you'd come down here and be and explore all kinds of things. And he experiences it and she experiences it through us. So love yourself. Cut yourself some damn slack. And look at things more from a realistic view. And realize that we're all in this together. Unity. Are all of us perfect? No. Are all of us on the same path as the other? No. God said, Jesus said, whoever you want to hear it from, they said, all paths lead home to God. All paths. I was concerned about the souls that were going to be left behind when we finally shift completely to the 5D, which is more love-oriented and unity-oriented and none of this negative stuff. Not much. And I was worried about the souls that were going to be left behind, so I went up to talk to God, and because it's just something I can do. And I talked to him, and I said, I'm having a problem with this, because I've seen this, and this, for all the ways that they use to program us incorrectly here. And he said, Mari. That's my spiritual name, Mari. He said, Mari, what's another couple thousand years in the scheme of infinity? Oh. Yeah, I guess you're right. So I gave up that big weight off my shoulders, and I knew then that, they'll make their way home eventually. So start mending and having a personal relationship with your God self. It's really God. You and him and you and her are one and the same. Just tap in so that you can know it. And there is no wrong way. There is no right way. There is no absolute way. Okay? There isn't. And we all get there eventually on our own. It's just that what they're wanting to do in the near future, if you don't stand up for who you are as a soul, not just a human, but as a soul, having a human experience, they're going to block off exactly what you need to communicate correctly and thoroughly with Source. Now, Source will find a way eventually, and you'll have to really dig for it. But putting electronics in your brain will shortwave any information coming in. And there is nothing in a computer program, even with all our history, and they aren't going to give you all the history. They just won't. They're trying to cut history out from 2016 and back as not existing anymore. Anyway, I have my issues about that too, because I'm one for knowledge, and we should have all knowledge available. And as new knowledge is found, we should be adding to it, But anyway, that's me. And but this is a big step for the human race. If you do it, your future will be limited to less than 20 years. Um, and the progression of the human form will become what the little grays look like. They're about this tall, 4 foot, 3.5 feet, 4 foot. Big almond eyes, hardly any nostril, just a couple slits, and small mouths, and hardly any ears because they talk telepathically. However, they become a hive unit, and they listen to a computer telling them what to do. They become a machine, basically. There is no uniqueness left. There is no incredible differences in our looks and our feelings and our... There are no feelings. There's none. There's no creative arts, nothing creative, no salesmanship, no nothing. Nothing. And so the body becomes very limited because it's not needed anymore. You're not using your brain cells, so it's not functioning and giving you everything that this body requires, because it requires a lot of mental activity. And once you start giving that up, it starts changing the form, because it'll just send the energy somewhere else because it's not being used properly. So I just wanted you to know all that. If you really want the world to heal, take the time to meditate. It's just deep breathing. Don't worry about your thoughts. If you get stuck on one, just you identify that you're stuck on it, and it goes away. Another one will come back. Just the way your brain is. Eventually, you can tell your mind to nah. But to help with concentration, make all your senses busy, focused, and it helps. I've got a video on my website, or not on my website, but on my YouTube channel. You can go and look, and it's way at the bottom. But it's a basic meditation if you need help, and it's just time. It's time to be our own heroes, our own co-creators. That's what we're meant to be. Co-creators with God. God is all that is, source. And not listen to the negative coming into our heads. That's not us. Our soul is raw joy and sensuousness for creativity, because sensuousness is part of the creative force. And it's not about sex, it's about creative force. Pull it up. And enjoy. Spend more time being present every day. There's nothing the world has to offer us if we aren't present in the moment to really appreciate that. They say it's not real, but it sure feels real in that wild. That's because our soul is energy. This feels solid. It's a new experience. So get to know it. We take it for granted. So maybe that's where we start. Let's start with getting to know our physical world and appreciating it and realizing, oh, it doesn't really exist, but it sure feels like it does, doesn't it? Get to know yourself. Be your own hero. Love you. Lori out.